Well, I'd like to start by welcoming everyone to our first JumpStart Z'Hills virtual series. We're excited to have you with us. We have a great lineup of speakers with us today, and we know that we want to get straight to them. So what we're going to do is start off with the mayor, who is going to give us an invocation. So one sec, or not an invocation, pledge allegiance. I apologize.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
All right. Well, we have our agenda is going to go as follows. Let me stop sharing that real quick. We're going to start off with Mayor Whitfield speaking, then Representative Maggard, Commissioner Oakley, Councilman Burgess, Chief Brewer, and with our city manager, Billy Poe. So I'd like to start off by introducing our mayor. Each of our speakers will speak for about 5 to 7 minutes. You'll be able to ask questions and look at the question and answer segment at the bottom and write any questions you'd like. And at the end of the meeting, if we have time, we'll get to some of your questions. And if not, we'll keep the questions and we will ask them ourselves of the people that you're looking, and we will get them back to you. So Mayor Gene Whitfield is the third generation East Pasco County resident. He's been married to his high school sweetheart, Ernestine, for 46 years. They have 2 children. They have been owners of the Whitfield Funeral Home for over 25 years. Over the years, Gene has served the community in many ways. He has served as our mayor for 6 years and will continue for the next 3 years, which we're very excited about, Mayor. He works hard to strengthen relationship between city government and the citizens, and he's a great advocate for our community. So, Mayor Whitfield, we're excited to have you with us, and we'll let you take it away.
Well, thanks, Melanie. I too, like you, I want to acknowledge the panel. We have a great panel here today, and they're going to be you're going to be participating and answering questions. So I welcome them as well. And I want to use my time, if I can, to start the town hall by giving thanks to some people in our community. A lot of people have participated and done a lot of great things to make our community and have our community moving forward as well as it is. So I want to use this time, as I said. So first, I want to thank you, Melanie, because you did a great job putting this all together with your staff. I know there's a lot of work that goes into this, a lot of research, and then there's also getting all the panel to line up and all the times to work out. And so I want to thank you for all your hard work in coordinating all that. And we have a great team because we have state representatives, we have county representatives, and we have local government. So we thank you for putting together a good team. I also want to thank the team that's assembled here because they're going to be willing to give us information and willing to answer questions that we're going to need from the community. And we encourage the community to answer those questions. And I also want to thank the citizens here in Zephyrhills and across the county for sheltering in place, as the governor asked us to do a few weeks ago, for washing our hands frequently, for using the mask, and for the social distancing and those kinds of things. We just want to thank all of you for participating and doing those things. That's another contribution to making our area safer and a more secure environment as we go through this difficult time. I think that it's appropriate to say that the citizens have made a difference because they have followed the leadership of their state and local governments here and county. And so I'm just very, very proud of our citizens. And I certainly want to thank the first responders, our police and firemen. They're on the front lines every day, and our ambulance drivers and so forth. They're on the front lines every day, all day long, all around the clock. And so we need to think of them and be thankful that we have them. And I know I'm expressing everyone's opinion with regard to these things because there's so many who deserve it. But I just thought I would use my time to express it. There's the medical providers we have at the hospital and the nursing homes, doctors' offices. And we think of the doctors, and certainly we need them. But we also need the nurses, and we need the technicians, and we need the support staff. We often don't think of the support staffs such as those that do the laundry in the hospital and the nursing homes, those that keep the environment sanitized and clean. There's just so many areas. They do the laundry. They just do all these jobs that we don't think of, but they're supporting those doctors and nurses who are up there taking care of our well-being. And so I think that it's important that we remember that. And then also in our community, we need to remember the essential businesses that are supporting daycares who are allowing nurses and doctors to be able to work, and these people who go to the hospitals and places and do the workers there that do the other jobs, the support work. They need daycare. They need gas stations. They need restaurants so they can get food. All of these people are helping to provide an essential need that we have in our community. But I'm very proud that all of our community is working together. And I know we all await the governor's announcement today of how he, how he plans to phase in and do some reopening. And I would only ask, as your mayor, as your neighbor, as your friend, that we all use our own judgment as to these new openings. What will work best for me today? If something comes out and governor offers something, I might want to say, well, I'm just not ready to do that yet. And that's okay. Do what's best for you. But you may feel that you're there and you can do that and you want to do it. And that's okay also. So everyone, I think, needs to be encouraged to do what's going to work best for them as we start hearing some of the new phased-in plans that he has. So again, I want to thank so many who've done so much to help keep us well. I really appreciate that and the work that's been done in our community. And so I want us to all to continue to think in these terms, that we protect ourselves, we protect our family, we protect our neighbors and friends. Thank you, Melanie.
Thank you, Mayor. We appreciate that. And you're right. We have amazing partnerships in this community. And no matter what, good times and bad, they're always there. But it's great to see that everyone's stepping up, working together. And I think we'll hear that from others, how people have worked together. So let me just ask you just a silly question. Why did you choose to run for mayor when you first started years ago?
Oh, well, that's not hard. All my adult life, all through my career, I have always done something in the community. I always tried to be involved and give back in some way or another. Several years ago, I was on the hospital board of directors. And when I rolled off of that, didn't have anything to do. A couple of years went by, and I started kind of feeling like I need to get involved in something. Well, Danny Burgess decided that he was going to run for state representative that year. So I thought about it, and I thought, well, I had a couple of people come to me about it, and I thought, well, this is a way I could give back, I could serve. And so that was my reason, because I wanted to continue to serve. And I'd been laying out for a couple of years and not doing anything much. So it was time for me to get back involved. So that's why I ran for mayor. And I have thoroughly enjoyed it. It's been a challenge. And even at my age, you never get too old to learn. And I learn every day as being mayor. So thank you.
Isn't that the truth? We are constantly learning. And you are an amazing example of service. And we thank you for that. So thank you, Mayor. Let me make sure the mayor's muted. All right. So our next speaker is Representative Randy Maggard. He was born in Dade City, Florida, and raised here in Zephyrhills. He attended Zephyrhills High School, where he met his wife, Colleen. In 1983, he received his associate degree from PHC and now Pasco Hernando State College. Randy was elected to the Florida House of Representatives on June 18th, 2019, and I know this has been a whirlwind of a year for him. in where he in the Florida House, he focuses on enhancement of school choice and how to improve educational outcomes, making sure Florida remains a low tax and economically competitive state, creating high-paying jobs by bringing new business in and by helping existing businesses grow, and by increasing workforce and vocational training. So we're excited to have Representative Maggard with us, and I think he's unmuted. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you so much for inviting me and having me today. And I also want to echo the mayor's comments. This is uncertain times for a lot of us and businesses, what's going on in the state. And when you're out in the field helping with hospitals or whatever their case may be, watching everybody give it all is inspiring. And I think Danny Burgess, and make that comment, Mayor, talking about one move, how it changes people's lives. But he decided to add it, though, the ripple effect all changed. So we thank Danny for that. By all means, he's doing a wonderful job, and keep Danny in your prayers and thoughts as he's running the veterans. And that's not an easy job right now for any of us. But I do want to thank everybody. And I don't know, somebody coined it Bulldog Strong, and it should be. Zephyrhills community is really pulled together, and it's great to see. And you know what? Growing up here, we've always sort of had that way. We can handle whatever comes our way. So I'm proud to be a Bulldog by all means. Touch a little bit, the mayor touched a little bit on it. All of us are probably anticipating this afternoon how the governor's probably, way it seems, going to slowly start opening the state back up. Following the business move, businesses today, we hear that by June 1st, Starbucks is planning on opening 90% of their stores back up in the nation. Subway will start opening back up at a slow pace. So we're starting to see some optimism out there. A lot of people feel that we've crossed the high point of this and we're on a downward slide. We hope so. But at the end of the day, we still need to protect ourselves, wash our hands, social distancing, masks, things of that nature. If you're sick, stay home. None of that really changes. It's just common sense type stuff that we need to look at from here. So it will be good to get our economy going. It's been tough for a lot of businesses here. It's been tough for a lot of individuals. And I know, the 800-pound gorilla in the room is the DEO and the issues we have had at the state of getting money out. And we've got a handle on it. We feel good about it now. We know where we're going. But, there were some hiccups in the beginning, and we dealt with it. And it was growing pains, and it was not fun at all. I will not say it is. I don't ever want to try to go through that again. But, the sad thing about it is, there has been about 1.8 million claims filed. Well, out of that, 40% of them have been bogus. I mean, you got to go through each claim. It takes time. And you're finding out 40% of the ones are just not good. Or they're out trying to scam, whatever the case may be. And, the process just takes long when you have to deal with things like that. And but we feel by next week, we will have a great handle on it, and we should be able to move along. And we got most of the problems corrected. Now we just got to get it through the system. And then we can just watch and see what the state does. I'm an optimistic person. I think that Florida will rebound, especially Pasco County. They got some great leadership here, as also in the city, that will rebound and get right back to whatever normal is. And that's really the question. What is the new normal? We don't know that, we have conversations about, we know the school system was closed down for this year. And, how's it going to affect sports? How's it going to affect, concerts? How's it going to affect how we go back to church with each other? There's a lot of things out there that are really unknown. I think you're going to see some business changes in how restaurants operate from here, and businesses in general that have to change their business plans, and some are going to keep it. So I think it's really going to be interesting between now and the end of the year to see how Floridians bounce back, which we will, and really address how we're going to go forward. And but I'm and no doubt in my mind we will, and we'll do it. We'll do it very well indeed. So really, I think today will be the start if he announces slowly the open. And I agree with what the mayor said. You're not comfortable with it, stay home. If you think you got the ability that you can, and you can put a mask on, you can play by the rules, by all means, get out. But if you don't feel like because he's open in the state, you're forced to get out of your house when you don't feel right about it. You don't have to. That's not the game. The idea is to try to get our economy going and get people, businesses back running, and help support our families and our community as we do. So, I think today is a good starting point for us. Also in the news today, a little bit of hope that Gilead come out that maybe have a drug that will help stop this, cure us, whatever you want to call this. And those are the type of things that gives your economy and people hope out there a shot in the arm. So we're hoping this is a new day and a new dawn, and we can get over this and move on. So that's where we're headed. So I'm waiting, like you, to anticipate what the governor's going to say. And I think the scripture says it's the best. We take this one day at a time. Thank you.
Thank you. And we appreciate your service. And we know that you didn't have to step up and run and have what's in front of you, but you did it because you care about this community. And we're thrilled to have you in there. And we know that you're doing an amazing job. So thank you, sir.
Well, thank you very much.
All right. Our next speaker is Commissioner Ron Oakley. He is a Pasco County native, born and raised in Dade City. Commissioner Oakley graduated from Pasco High School. After graduation, he attended Carson Newman College in Jefferson City, where he majored in accounting and earned his bachelor's degree. Commissioner Oakley has been very involved with our local community and has been a champion for charities and helping to raise thousands for those in need. Commissioner Oakley has been an outstanding voice for East Pasco and always is there for those who serve. So, Commissioner Oakley, we're excited to have you with us today. And
I'm proud to be here today, and quite a nice panel of speakers and all that you have here, and just echo some of the thoughts that the mayor had to say, Mayor Whitfield, and also our representative, Randy Maggard. I don't think any of us planned on such a COVID-19 pandemic, and it's just something that's happened, and we have to stand up and do the best we can with the circumstances we have. I can tell you this, your county has not slowed down. We're continuing to work just as we do normally, except most of our people are working from home instead of at the office. And it's been going on that way for quite a while now. And some of our neighboring counties have not been able to be as lucky as we are, I guess, to have the people in the right places to do the right thing and keep the county moving. I heard the other day from a neighboring county that they actually shut down where they had a hard time to even get permits for any building or doing anything. In Pasco County, it's not that way. We actually have made sure that we can keep as many people working as possible. But still, you got to feel for those people that their businesses are shut down, whether they're a small restaurant and just can't afford to do takeout. They just don't get that kind of business, or even bars. Bars are going to be shut down for quite a while, it looks like. So social distancing is very important, washing our hands and wearing a mask if we're out. I wear rubber gloves and a mask every time I go out to the grocery store or anywhere I'm going outside of my home. So I think it's something that's probably the new normal, and maybe we need to do this for a while because we don't know when this is going to really be over. Even though they're going to try to reopen and get businesses open, I look forward to these businesses opening, but I'm probably one of those persons that Randy was speaking of. I don't feel comfortable in going back out into a restaurant right now. and you probably won't see me out in a restaurant. So that's just my feeling. And of course, I'm of the age that you have to be careful. The virus will treat me a lot worse than it would younger people. So, but I think there's a certain amount of people, probably a pretty large percentage of young people, middle-aged people that will do that. They will go right back out. They're not fearful of any of that. And I'm happy for them to be able to do that. And hopefully we'll make it safe, and they'll take the precautions they need for their mask and things of that nature. In Pasco County, we've had 241 positive cases. At this time, we have 6 deaths in the county as of today. And if you find out, most of the people that have died from this disease have had other issues like upper respiratory, cancer, and other complications that just were not good to begin with. So we have that a lot of times. And the fact that influenza in the United States has killed up to 50 or 54,000 people during a year. And this is not the flu. It's a little more infectious than the flu is. And just like Randy said also about the fact that there's a new drug they're coming out with, they think that they've hit on something that will help protect us. So that's great news. And you can see the financial market and the economy itself, it's going to come back. So it really looks good. And just don't let down your guard when you go out and be around people, and stay your 6 foot away and wear your mask, wear your gloves, and protect yourself. But things will get better. So there is a light at the end of that long tunnel that we didn't think we could have. But actually, we didn't think we could have meetings like we're having today. And our meetings with the county, we've had one board meeting and it went very well. I'll be honest with you, I came and sat at the dais just like I normally do any other meeting, and it seemed the same. Seemed the same way as we had a meeting before, even though no others were at home or wherever. We all, just like we are today with this panel, and business goes on. So we've actually been able to help people in Pasco County. We had a grant of $2 million that covered $5,000 for a small business that we voted on last week at our meeting. And it covered, like say, 400 businesses and $5,000 fees. In the first 24 hours, we had 1,200 applications for 400 spots. That's really tough, to cover all that. Hopefully, and we're looking to see if there's some other way we can help those others. So we know we help 400 in that, and looking for ways to maybe helping those other businesses. But they need that. Yeah. $5,000 for a real small business will take it down the road a little further to where maybe we can be up and get our economy up and running. I'd heard rumors that Hobby Lobby was going to be opening up, but from the folks I talked to today, they would have to open up to where they have curbside service is the only way they can open at this time. So some of those things will be opening up, and I think the next week or two, probably by June 1st, you'll see a little different kind of normal where they open up and they have things spaced out to where when you go in a store, only so many people can go and things of that nature to protect us. You got to remember, all this is set up to keep us safe and healthy in our community and care on our lives and do the right thing for the citizens. I, like the others, I never expected anything like this when I decided I'd run and be a county commissioner. And I absolutely love helping people in the South and in the city of Zephyrhills and Dade City and all of the county. All the citizens I work for in the county, I get calls from all over the county. When they feel like they can't get anybody else to help them, they seem to end up with my phone number. So I take their calls and I do the best I can for them. And usually we're pretty successful in getting things done. So,
well, thank you, Commissioner.
It's been real good. And I mean, Melanie, I can just praise you for all that you've done. I mean, it's just amazing. I know you shake heads and you don't think that, but I do. And I see it and it happens. You make things happen in Zephyrhills.
Thank you.
And do a great job. And your city's great. I'd be not telling the truth if I didn't say I miss Steve Spina, but sorry, Billy. But I don't mean any harm to that. But Steve and I really work close together, and we have, and Billy and I do too. So we're going to get a lot of projects going in the future. And as soon as this issue's over and we get down to sign on a budget, then we'll figure out where our monies that we've asked for from the state, and Randy knows this, and those things we get worked out, we can hopefully get those monies. Pasco County in itself is, I think it's $1.9 million as of Monday. So it's probably up a little more from that, the cost of this, all the work we're doing with COVID-19. So, early on, we didn't have the supplies we needed. Even the hospitals, Advent Hospital and others, they were short of PPEs and supplies that they needed to protect their nurses and doctors and things of that nature. And that has come maybe to a pass now because we're able to get a few more PPEs and all coming in, and we're able to share that with them when we get those from the States. So I think they'll be in better shape than they have been because nobody expected to use and have all the use of PPEs and things that we need in those hospitals. So,
well, thank you. We appreciate you.
We have one bad issue happening, and you worry about where COVID-19 is hitting, but in Royal Oaks and Dade City, it hit it very hard. It started out with like 5 cases. It's up to 20 cases of positive in Royal Oaks. And so please feel for those people and keep them in your prayers. So
we will do that. We will do that.
DOH is working very hard to help them through that. So.
Okay.
But with that, that's all I've got to say. Actually, if you need me anyway, anybody wants to call my office, we'll reach out the best way we can to help you. So,
well, thank you. We appreciate it, and we love that you are hands-on. We know that if we have questions, all we have to do is call and we get the answers. And a lot of times it's your cell. And I recognize that you don't have to do that. So we appreciate that. One thing that I did want to say is I've been lucky to be on the committee helping to give the Pasco County money grant out. It's been a real humbling experience for me. And it's hard to recognize how many businesses are really affected at this moment. So we're going to cross our fingers that money can be funded, and maybe some more of those 1,200 might be able to get some grant money too. So thank you, sir.
Yes.
We appreciate it. So next we have Council President Ken Burgess. He has lived in Zephyrhills since 1973, has been married to his wife, Vicki, for 33 years, and they have a daughter, Courtney. After graduating from Zephyrhills High School, Ken went into the family construction business. He still is a licensed contractor and a licensed building inspector. For the past 26 years, Ken has been a school teacher and coach at Zephyrhills High, and recently retired at the end of the last school years, which we all miss him for that too, but we know he served. He has seen 2 generations of Zephyrhills residents go through our schools. Ken was elected to City Council in 2011. As a member of the council, he cherishes the opportunity to give back to the city where he grew up. He wants to see Zephyrhills remain a great city to work, play, and raise a family. So I want to welcome Council President, and let me get him here, Burgess. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you, Melanie, and I want to thank you also for putting this together. This is, I think, it's going to be a really nice thing for the citizens to see. And the mayor really kicked it off great with what he spoke of with everyone. Thanking everybody and making sure to get everybody thanked on this. I just also want to thank the citizens of Zephyrhills. Probably don't realize, but when you follow government, you always think of the federal government, and everybody does a lot of complaining. But government works best closest to the people, and so you have our city government, and then we have great relationships with county commissioners, and especially County Commissioner Oakley. I mean, this is the best since he's been on the commission. This is the best relationship we've had, I think, since I've been on council too. we do. We work well together. We spoke a little bit right before we came on about City of Zephyrhills took a big step here at the last meeting where we actually merged our fire department with Pasco County. And I also want to thank Commissioner Oakley for his support and, a little bit of guidance along the way. It was a long process, and we voted to approve that merger just on Monday night. And, and then State Representative Maggard, another great relationship there. So the city of Zephyrhills is very well represented all the way through. And we have good relationships with them. And what's really important is the people we have representing us are long-term residents of the area. It's not somebody that just all of a sudden showed up here and decided they wanted to, be in charge. Representative Maggard's been here his whole life. Representative Oakley's been here, his whole life. And I've been here what I consider most of my whole life. I mean, we moved here in 73, but I've, lived here my life. Consider myself a Zephyrhills resident. And so I really want to thank Representative Maggard, Commissioner Oakley, and all of the people that we work with on our projects. It is a tough time right now. I mean, we're thrown into something that was very unexpected. As a city government, we still have some big projects we were working on, one of them being the fire merger. We have a tennis center project going on. We are working with the DOT on moving a light, which I think will be very important for our economic development of the north side of our town. And then, of course, our runway extension. So all of these things are very beneficial to the city of Zephyrhills. And, we're kind of thrown into a spot where we're still working, we're still doing the things, but we're going to be a little bit, have to see how things turn out because, as we know, revenues are going to be down for the state, for the county, for the city. And so hopefully our projects will still be moving forward, is what we're looking forward to anyways. And then again, the citizens of Zephyrhills, I've been quarantined. You see my COVID-19 hairstyle I got going. I haven't seen my barber in like 2 months. And I've been pretty much quarantined the whole time, like Commissioner Oakley. I don't get out much at all. And I'm trying to save myself so I can see my grandkids. But the couple of times that I do get out and go around, I can see the difference. People are staying at home and doing what they're asking. We're going through the guidance of working with the county, their guidance, working with the state and their guidance. Obviously, we know Governor DeSantis is going to make some remarks today. And so we're going to, follow through that. The city is just going to follow right along with the guidance of all of our government relationships. And that's what we're going to continue to do. I'll leave some for the city manager to explain what day-to-day operations are going with the city. But I just wanted the citizens of Zephyrhills to know that they're very well representative right on up through. And, for everyone to remain safe. Hopefully we do get this back to normal. I'm going to be one of those guys, too, that's probably going to be going out a little apprehensive to start with. But that's okay. I mean, I am retired now, as you mentioned. So I've got plenty of things to do around the house. And again, I want to thank you, Melanie, for putting this together. And I want to thank all of our government officials that we work with for all that they do, too. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ken. I appreciate it. And you're right. There's not a person on this call that's not passionate about this community. And everybody gives their all. So that's just amazing to have. So just an off question then. What have you enjoyed the most about serving on the city council through these years? It's been a long time.
Well, yeah, it's actually, it started off, and then a couple of them had mentioned Danny Burgess. And so getting on there was actually, my nephew was kind of the inspiration because I sort of thought about it, different times, but, I followed what was going on in city government. And I thought it'd be kind of interesting, to give back and help out with things. And then, of course, he jumped the gun there and 18 years old and jumped on city council. And so some years later, when the opportunity came up to run and be on there, I kind of went with it. But what I kind of enjoy now, I feel like as it goes along, we've got so many things going on. I just want to complete them. So it's like, it's almost seems like it's going to be a never ending thing because I just want to be involved and see a lot of those things come to completion. And it's been really a learning experience too. So I appreciate you having me on.
You are an amazing councilman, and I'm always telling you how great you run your meetings, and I appreciate your passion for our community. So thank you, sir. We appreciate you being with us, and
thank you.
Thank you for taking the time. So let's see. Next, we have Chief Derek Brewer. He was raised in Merrimack, New Hampshire, and moved to Pasco County in 1993. His law enforcement career started in 2002 as a patrol officer with the Zephyrhills Police Department, and he has advanced through the ranks, serving as field training officer, sergeant, lieutenant, and captain. He was named chief of police in September of 2017, following a 4-month tenure as the department's interim chief of police. During his employment with the city, Chief Brewer has served on many committees working to better our community. He's an incredible leader and serves our community tirelessly. And I consider him my friend. And I don't know that I'm going to put you on here. I don't know that a lot of people can say that, but you are my friend, and I appreciate what you do.
Thank you, Melanie. First of all, thank you for having me. I'm really honored that you even asked me to be part of this very distinguished panel. I've always been very passionate about police work and police work in the city. And, certainly during times like this, that does not change. But I will tell you, I'm just so proud of my staff. This has been a unique challenge in law enforcement. And it's a threat they're not accustomed to seeing. And but they've stood in front of it, as they always do. And I just really appreciate the men and women of the police department and what they've been doing. And they stand in front of it just like every other threat. So I'm just very proud of my staff. Some of the things I wanted to talk about today was just some of the things that I've been reporting, getting through information such as emergency management or the Pasco Sheriff's Office or any of those meetings that I may attend. It seems like I'm on a conference call 3 times a day. So one of the things that obviously, I don't know if there's any expert that really knows, but some of the information we're getting is that they expect Pasco County to peak in about mid-May. So we're certainly not over yet. We may be getting close to opening the state, but we certainly not. I don't think we're going to be ready to open it completely up. So as of yesterday, there were no positive cases at Advent Health Zephyrhills, which is probably a good sign. We track all the addresses in the city that are either under investigation or positive cases. And currently we have 48 addresses under investigation. That doesn't mean that they're positive for COVID-19, but that they're under investigation. And 14 of those addresses are in the city limits. As you can probably see, a lot of the stats coming up regularly is there is 25 positive cases in Zephyrhills. And that accounts for about 10.5% of the cases in Pasco County. Some of the things that it has changed this epidemic, this pandemic has changed the way we do business. We have seen some increases in, as you would expect, domestic violence and disturbance calls. We've also seen juvenile problems increase because kids find a way to get into trouble regardless when they're not in school. But we have seen a decrease in accidents, which you would obviously anticipate based on less people on the roadway. And our total calls for service, even though we've been pretty busy, our total calls for service are down compared to what we normally are. We're finding ways to make sure we're busy, checking closed businesses, doing spot checks on businesses that we feel might be not in compliance of the executive order, and just the normal, we're trying to protect our healthcare workers. I've had an officer stationed up there for the past probably about a month, maybe even a little bit more, just to make sure our hospital staff feels comfortable and they're not in any kind of risk. So obviously the challenges that we face are resources. We've been pretty fortunate that we've had no resource concerns. We jumped on it pretty quick, and I have a very resourceful staff that made sure we were getting PPE, we were getting the masks, the gloves, the sanitizer, and we're pretty well stocked, and the officers have what they need to do what they have to do and do it safely. And certainly we've changed from, really a proactive trying to get criminals off the street to we're guardians. We're protecting the public health and public health care workers. So it has changed the way we've operated. Each arrest we do has gone through they go through an extensive screening process, not only to determine what kind of health risk they provide to go into a jail setting, but also to determine whether or not we can prevent them from going to jail through other means, such as a notice to appear or release them on their own recognizance, so that we're not introducing a possible illness into the jail. But it has changed the way we view it. We go through an extensive screen process to determine whether or not we even need to take them to jail. Certainly, we're trying to reduce contact with citizens in police work has been a challenge. How do you do police work without making contact with people? And I can tell you, we've done our best through taking reports over the phone, to closing our lobby to normal traffic, to just normal social distancing rules that it would kind of prevent us from any kind of infection. As you would probably know, staffing challenges was probably my biggest concern going into this, because once you introduce it, the rest of your staff is at risk. We did have one police officer that did test positive. The good thing is that it was travel related and it was very early on. So it was never introduced into the facility. So there was really no risk to any other member. And I'm happy to report that that officer recovered and is doing quite well and has returned to work. And right now, as much as we want to knock on wood, I have no officers that are at any risk at this moment anyway. But that's not going to go away anytime soon. So, and in addition to keeping them healthy, because businesses are closing, there's also that childcare issue, and we've been trying to work with staff, rearranging their schedule to try to make it convenient where a spouse might not be able to watch your kids, or we've been. It has been a challenge, but believe it or not, they've done a very good job of making sure we're covered and they're able to take care of their families too. So, and obviously limiting risk of healthy staff has been a challenge. This morning, we responded to a normal alarm call. And as I mentioned earlier, we have addresses in each one of listed in our CAD system to let us know, hey, you need to use precautions. So they were out at an alarm call. Well, while they were at an alarm call, somebody actually came out and said, my wife is having a heart attack. I need you to come take care of her. So the officers run in, they start checking on her, doing the vitals, making sure she's okay. Well, dispatch didn't know what house they ran into, and it was a house that was listed as a potential risk. So the officers, even though we're trying to protect them, trying to make sure they have the situational awareness in those conditions, it's not always easy to, you can't prevent that. They got to go in and, even though it was listed in our system as flagged so that they can use the protective equipment, they weren't in a position to do that. It was unfortunate, and we're certainly going to monitor their situation. And hopefully, everything works out well. And again, from a police standpoint, we're going to listen to whatever the governor decides to tell us, and we'll follow suit.
Well, thank you, Chief. I don't think any of us recognize the scope of this just on the level of safety that you and your staff are dealing with every day. And each one of us have a different role in this, but yours is very vital. So we appreciate I'm sure you're exhausted. I'm sure everybody over there is exhausted. I've been able to work a little bit. I'm starting to work with Pasco County on their reopening task force. And childcare is one of the big things. What are we going to do when we start opening and the childcare is not there? So there's a lot of things that we're going to be thinking about as we go forward. But we appreciate you. We appreciate your staff and what you do, and that you're there for us. You're there for the citizens when they need you. So thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you again for having me.
All right. Last but not least, we have William Billy Poe, or as we know him. He was born and raised right here in Zephyrhills. He's been married to Kim for 17 years, and they have 3 children, Josh, Madison, and William. He was the assistant planner for Zephyrhills for 5 years before taking the position as the Dade city manager, where he served for 11 years for the city of Dade City. We were thrilled and very excited when he came back to us about a year ago to take on the role as city manager, and we recognized that it's huge shoes to fill, because we all really love Steve, but we love Billy too. He's amazing. So I want to turn the time over to Billy, your city manager, and let me get him up here.
Good. All right. Melanie, thank you to you and your team for having us and putting this together for the citizens who have joined us. I'm happy to be back, born and raised. I am a Bulldog, graduated from Zephyrhills High School, and I'm glad to be back in my hometown and be able to help Zephyrhills grow into the future. Just a few updates, because I know we're bumping up against the 2 o'clock, and I know there's questions that have come in. Zephyrhills, the city is open normal business hours, except for the library. The library has been closed for a couple of weeks now. Those employees are still helping, and they're still doing things in the background in the library to prepare for when they do open. All of our departments, most of our departments, have begun working AB shifts to try to limit some of the exposure for the employees. So that's going pretty well. Because of that, though, we're not able to do a lot of the proactive activities, and it's a lot of maintenance. So I ask, the community to kind of bear with us and bear with our employees as they're doing the best they can to keep the city open and operating and looking good for the community. City parks, the open spaces and trails remain open. The pavilions, bathrooms, the water park are all closed. There have been internal discussions of possibly opening the skate park up again here in the near future. We as a staff here at Zephyrhills are continuing to work with Pasco County, Department of Health, and other municipalities on what our direction is as far as opening and how do we keep the community safe and still operate. Just like everyone else, we're continuing to wait on the governor's press conference and to see which direction we're going and what will be open and what our next step is. We are open for business. So there are a lot of projects that are still going on. Our subdivisions that we have going currently are the Oaks and the links of Colusa Springs. That's about 200 homes along Simons Road, on the east side of Simons Road. Abbott Square, which is around the tennis center, that's about 650 homes. That is, I think, in the final platting currently. And then we have Abbott Park, which is the old Gore's Dairy, and that's about 550 homes that wraps behind the Publix shopping plaza or Zephyr Commons. On the commercial side, the VA clinic that's behind CVS, they have revised their site plan and building plans, and that's been submitted to the planning department for review. A staple in our community, the Crystal Bar, or the Cristal, as some people call it, unfortunately, burnt down several months ago. and those plans are coming back in to rebuild that establishment. Chipotle is projected to come here in the next few months with their plans being submitted there for Zephyr Commons. The Chansey Partners Industrial Park, they continue to build, and we have a few new businesses going in at that location. Some of the city projects that we have going on, and I know Council President Burgess spoke on those. Pretty Pond 301 intersection. We actually had a bid meeting this morning. That bid packet has been put together, and we're waiting on one document from one of the abutting property owners, so we can send that bid out, and hopefully we'll see construction start there at Pretty Pond and 301 about in August. August 1st is our goal to have that begin. Once that begins and we get a little bit closer to completion of construction, I'm sure you will see construction on the northeast corner. We're told a Chick-fil-A will go in once we get the light done. And then on the northwest corner, you'll see some development as well. We continue as a city to do resurfacing. We spent about $600,000 over the past couple of weeks resurfacing roads throughout the community. The construction at the tennis center continues to be strong. We're hoping to have that project done July, August timeframe. As Councilman Burgess mentioned, we did merge our fire department with Pasco County. That will have a commencement date of September 27th. So we're working through those fine details. I just want to remind everybody and all the citizens that we are all in this together. I ask that everyone continue to follow the CDC guidelines of social distancing, washing your hands, staying home if you're sick. As everyone has said, if you're not comfortable going out, don't. Please stay home. I encourage everyone to support our local businesses, either by takeout or gift cards or anything that you can do to help support the local businesses. We've had a few businesses that have come in and donated food to our first responders, and I appreciate that. When we do reopen, I encourage everyone to use common sense. Continue to follow the guidelines. Let's try to not have a spike because we just become careless and complacent again. Thank you to our first responders and to all other city staff. They are here on the front lines every day, operating the city, and I appreciate everything that they're doing. One thing is I've reached out to Zephyrhills high school principal and trying to plan something special for the seniors, some type of parade, maybe in lieu of or in addition to their graduation, which I know has been postponed, or I don't know if it's postponed or canceled, but has been impacted by this. So we're trying to do some of those things to keep the community engaged, but also keep everyone safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Billy. Yeah, we reached out to her too to let her know that this community is ready to jump in and do what they need to do to make this graduation special for our kids. We've had a lot of parents contact us, and of course it's very difficult for them. We look at it through adult eyes, and it's difficult. So you have teenagers, you understand for sure. It's very hard for them to see past this point, and so we want to make it special for them. And I know that as soon as we hear what they want to do, that we'll start reaching out to our business community, and they will jump on board along with this whole panel, I'm sure, to help to bring some joy into those lives of those youth. So thank you, Billy.
Thank you for joining your Greater Zephyrhills Chamber of Commerce in our JumpStart Z'Hills series. Please join us next week, Wednesday, May 6th, from 1 p.m. to 1:45 p.m. as we welcome Congressman Gus Bilirakis in our virtual Congress Connect series. Please stay tuned for a message from our CEO, Melanie Monson.
Hi there, Melanie Monson, CEO of the Greater Zephyrhills Chamber of Commerce. Your Chamber of Commerce is excited to announce a new online series called JumpStart Z'Hills. Each week, this series will showcase business strategies, trade secrets, new ideas, and sometimes just how to have fun here in Zephyrhills. So visit our website at zephyrhillschamber.org to see what's in store for you as we share the knowledge of our business partners and expand your minds on the great community we call Zephyrhills. See you soon.